give this thing a minute here. I gotta hit the button. Zoom and Twitch are like evil brothers. They just don't like each other.
No, no, they don't. I'm surprised you use this considering.
Because okay, so here's the thing, right? Okay, we are officially live now. It's not that I really want to use this thing. Here's the thing. I used Restream forever.
Yeah,
But Restream became the head says, all that cool shit we were giving you for free, we're not giving it to you no more.
of course.
Right? And then
Typical.
StreamYard, for whatever reason, down here where I'm currently at, right? Occasionally, the connection gets below a thing, my audio drops. So Zoom is kind of like the default,
Oh, I see. Wonderful.
isn't it?
I feel like there's got to be like some cool plugin that Discord is going to have one day, and then you can just do it that way. It'll be
Yeah,
easy.
yeah, but it's funny because see, by the time that happens, I won't be doing these regularly anymore.
That's fair.
Yeah, the Twitch era of the show is this is basically how this is. This is all the people left over that I wanted to talk to that I couldn't fit into the 1,000.
Yeah.
So there's only like let me think about this. You, I got like 5, maybe 6 more slots after this. That's it. Like this is like this era of the show is almost done.
Wow.
Yeah.
Are you excited? Or are you nervous?
A bit both. Like I started doing the road show. I have my Patreon, right? So
Yeah,
I've
yeah.
started. So there's 7 episodes up. There's going to be an 8th one tonight. I'm finally, after everything I've been going through the last month. So since When Words Collide, I've been working on a novel that got submitted to an agent.
Yep.
You know the novel. I actually owe you a bunch more of it. You're gonna get it shortly.
Yes. Yes, you do. I'm excited.
Yeah, yes. So I've had 2 beta readers, and you both gave me. Okay, yours was a little more enthusiastic than the previous one, but she was like, the end result was the exact same. Where's the rest of it?
Yeah, exactly. We're like, give us more.
That's right.
You're like, shit. I have to write.
Okay, you were legitimately well shit, right? You were legitimately well shit because
Yep.
you read it in like an hour, like
Like
literally.
an hour and a half. I just woke up and I'm like, I have nothing to do right now. I'm just gonna read this whole thing.
Well, no. See, Here's the thing. I kind of get to see. This is my theory. This is just totally my theory. I don't think you plan to read the whole thing right there. I figure you get started there, right? But I think I hooked you somewhere along the way in that.
You did, and that's a good sign. So, like, when you did the next podcast, you were like, "Wait, you read the whole thing?"
Yeah, because it wasn't. So, folks. So I'm gonna say this, like, folks. It wasn't like I gave her a tiny piece of the book. I gave her over half of it, right? Right? Over half the book was in her hands. And she devoured the damn thing in one sitting. And it's just like, well, it worked better than I thought. I can't say I'm ungrateful for it. But yeah, I don't know. I do not know if the other beta reader read it that fast. But I was like, well, shit, I got to get you more. And I have to write more of it. And yeah, so I'm trying to get it done. Like the first 3 chapters, which I think my favorite writing of the story is definitely the first 5 chapters. It is like it is there. I think they're all ridiculously strong chapters.
Yeah.
The elevator ride from hell with the eyeball is definitely a fun one.
Yeah, that was wild. Like, and it's funny because before you sent me anything of this manuscript, you were like, by the way, this is going to be very different from the rest of the stuff you've read so far. And I feel like this is going to be more your speed. And you weren't wrong. You were, it was just like, here you go. I'm like, oh my God, this character is a bitch and I love it.
Well, that's the thing. I don't think she's a bitch. I just think she's
But she has nothing like this is what she has to do.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing else for her. She can't get out of this. This is like you do this or you're fucking dead. Like
Yeah, yeah, no, there's a bit of that, but I mean, I made her funny. I mean, I think I did a
yep.
really good job making her entertaining, funny. She
Hmm.
has definitely a way. You know, I may or may not have been the guys trying to hit on someone like that once upon a time, right?
Perfect.
Use real life, right? Wait till you get the last
Absolutely.
chapter of the book. Another yeah, there's another lane hit on. Not to her strictly, but I mean it's just she gets to be a judge at the very end of the story. That's what I'm gonna say.
Oh, cool. Oh, this
Kind of.
should be interesting.
Yeah,
I'm
well, like
excited for
we'll see
this.
what you think of it when you get to the very end.
Mhm.
I gotta do some like modifications because I definitely sped through parts of the ending.
Mhm.
There's a couple parts I have to make clearer for sure. The
Yeah.
bad guy, I'm gonna tell you this, the bad guy isn't who I expected it to be.
Oh. So hold on a second. You are also a bit of a pantser. So you just kind of like have an idea. You've got like the general sort of like idea of where you're going, but you can end up someplace you didn't think you were going to end up
Well, I usually end up where I want to go. Like I usually do. Like it doesn't deviate usually that far from the idea in my head to the execution.
in.
I wouldn't say like I would say 80% of what I come up with in my head hits the page. Now it doesn't always hit the page exactly how I imagine it would hit the page,
Mhm.
but it hits the page.
Yeah.
And every once in a while, it's like something just comes up and you're just like, no, that actually makes sense. Right?
No.
Because it answered a question that really bothered me about the whole story. It was like one of the big holes in it. And like and you know, because so to make this really simple, it's just like so Corey's the main character in the story, folks, and she's trying to kill Percival, who I made
Mhm.
kind of an evil genie,
Yeah.
right? Kind of an evil genie. Um, but I gave a really I make the stakes very clear for Percival what he's after and what he wants, kind of sort of.
Hmm.
I promise you there's going to be a scene you're going to laugh at what she does to him just because he's
Good.
annoying.
I'm excited.
Yeah. Um because of just how she is. But yeah, no, I had but I realized something about this too. It just was like why is she involved this particular way? Like why did they need her? And I
Mhm.
didn't have a good answer to that until I added this. And it was just like, no, that makes sense. That actually makes sense. Kind of, sort of, at least.
Mhm.
Right? Um, but I am sincerely so there's only one thing that's gonna be I'm not gonna spoil it here. I'm gonna say this like this, and you got to keep this to yourself.
Okay.
Okay?
Mhm.
I possibly pull a tiny bait and switch on you. I think what you get in return is better, at least for right now,
Mhm.
right? But there's a bait and switch with one of the characters, and that's to make sure that this character could come in. That's
Yeah.
but it makes sense. It hits the biggest hole of the book, but one of the payoffs you might be hoping for, it may not be this book, and that's all I'm going to say.
I'm gonna
One
have
of
to
them,
think about that
one
now.
of them.
Right.
But I'm not. I am making a promise, but there is a promise kind of made in the book that you will get a payoff to this eventually. It just may not be this book.
Right. Right. Right.
Right, right.
Right. It'll
That's the
resolve
thing.
later.
It's I put a rain check on one of them. That's all I'm
Yeah.
gonna say. Right.
Yeah.
So I gotta make sure I'm not pissed. So that's one of the things when you do get when you do get the full beta, it's gonna be a question.
Mhm.
I'm gonna say this because I kind of bait and switch you a little bit. It's
Yep.
something that could rationally happen,
Mhm.
and right, it's something that could rationally happen. But at the same time, I'm also keeping is what I gave you in return worth the bait and
Worth the
switch,
price. Yeah. Yeah.
worth the price. And two, I am going to keep my promise on it. It's just not going to be this book or the next book. It'll be book 3, and I already
Right.
know.
So here's my question, because I'm also writing a 3-book series. Agnes the Beast is going to be 3 books. I've always envisioned it that way.
I
And there are
I,
certain things that don't resolve until later. And so explaining this to one of my beta readers, they were like, hold the phone, like you have to, like there has to be some resolution, like what the hell is happening? So how do you compensate for that?
the trade-off I think is worth it. I can't say it on the air. I'll tell you off the
That's
air.
fine. That's
Yeah,
fine.
I'll tell
You
you
don't
off
have
the
to.
air. But the trade-off is I give Corey a bigger problem, is basically what I do here. I decided to trade this problem that I'm not sure she could solve, and I give her something else that I'm not sure she can solve. And
Right.
I kind of and I give it's an equal, it balances the scales a little bit. That's all I'm going to say. It balances it a bit,
Hmm.
but also I so in my head, right? This isn't a 3-book series. This could go as long as I want it to, but there's an
Sure.
arc for the whole Uber story, right?
Right.
So
So my question isn't like specifically what happens. My question is more like, as a writer, how are you ensuring that you're resolving something in this first book while still keeping that overarching theme? Like it's more of the process of writing a series, as opposed to tell me the specifics of what's happening. Like I
okay,
don't.
so you're still getting a full story.
Yeah.
Like that's the whole thing about this. Like if you're writing a series like this, or any, I think even a trilogy, you can do it this way. And I think actually probably be the best way to do a trilogy, to be honest with you. You can write a full story, but you have to give them a full story. Because if you
Right.
don't give them a full story, they have a right to be pissed at you,
Oh, sure.
right?
Absolutely.
So now you can tease them. This is the thing. You're allowed to tease them,
Mhm.
but you have to deliver something.
Yeah.
So I, because we are in the business of making a promise and following through. That
Mhm.
is entirely the nature of our business.
Yeah.
So if you understand that, that doesn't mean you have to fulfill every promise right away. What you got to do is, what is the important parts of this story? And when the important part of this story is really 2 things: how Corey got to be this way,
Yep.
and the love story inside it. So
Yep.
I can't screw up there.
Right. And I feel like you've actually done a really good job with this, because she does have some sort of inner conflict with that relationship, because of the nature of like what she does and like how they're sort of intertwined. It's very interesting to me.
Well, yeah, because because it's and also I mean, and there I mean, a real place too, because someone like me who's always wandering and doing things, right? There's a, like, I love going on dates. I love chasing the opposite sex. It's fun.
Hmm.
But am I in a position to offer something substantial right now? And
Right.
that's a much different question,
Yeah.
right? And do I want to? And the answer, again, and that's a big part. Like, again, we write about the things we care about.
Hmm.
So very much, this story is about, ultimately the themes are how Corey sees herself,
Yeah.
and how, and her worst, and how she sees herself, even though I don't think she fully hates her. She definitely doesn't hate herself in the future like she hated herself in the past.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, but is she at peace with who she is enough to let someone love her? And that's a
Yeah.
very different thing. And that's the thing. Like, that's a very real thing. A lot of us, when good things happen to us as people, we tend to panic the most there. It's not when things are going terribly.
Yeah.
It's when things are going well.
Yeah, 100%. My entire life, every time something good happens, I'm just waiting for the shitstorm
And
right
see,
after that. You know
and,
what I mean?
yeah, yeah, but that's a mistake, right? Because ultimately what you've done is you've denied yourself the ability to enjoy. Look, nothing lasts forever. We all know this. But that's bad shit too, not good shit. But the thing is, do we not look at ourselves and say, hey, this is a good thing. Can I enjoy this? And that
Yeah.
requires a certain degree of making peace with who you are,
Yeah.
right? um like, and that's very much like a big part of all our journeys. But I find the biggest thing I've done enough of these, I can say this. I have interviewed the really successful people in this business,
Hmm.
or any business, let themselves realize the good things are there and enjoy them. Now, again, you can let that stuff catch you up too,
Hmm.
right? And to some degree, that can be there is a comfort thing about it to some degree. But the
Hmm.
truth is, at this point in life, right, we kind of know, hopefully, a good thing when we see it.
Yeah.
And we know a shitty thing when we see it too. We know it. We do hear those red flags. Now, whether we like listen to them entirely or not, that's a different conversation.
Sure.
But
Yeah.
we know there's red flags. Like, there comes a point in life where you've seen these. I have seen this. I hope. Anyway, I sincerely hope this. I have seen this pattern before,
Yeah.
right? How do I make this different? How do I make this better?
Exactly. Yeah.
Right? And that's the and the last thing I'll talk about with the novel is that's why also a big reason why I went back into her past. Because some
Hmm.
of those decisions she made in the past and some of the decisions she's seeing now, they are kind of connected,
Yeah.
right? They're echoes of the same choice. And one of the I did that for two reasons. One, when she meets some of the other Knights of the Round in future books, yes, there's a history with a lot of them, right? A
Yeah.
lot of them. Not necessarily all of them, but a lot of them.
Hmm.
And and um and the thing about it is I can go back and explore that history. I love that. That was my favorite part of Highlander, the series, way back in the day. I love
Yeah.
that was my favorite part of it because you got like it was one of the smarter ways I've ever seen on television of why do I give a fuck about this immortal of the week he's fighting? And it's because they have a story together. Now some are
Yeah.
better than others, but they have a story at least together. Like they're not always great stories. Like sometimes it's just,
Sure.
oh, you killed the love of my life and I want revenge and I'll never forget. And after you see this so many times, it's nowhere near as fun. But
Right.
but there are a couple of those back then, like from that show, that are really interesting. Like, not every, sometimes McLeod was the bad guy. I can't wait to get to
Sure.
those ones. Sometimes that guy was just a complete piece of shit the whole way through. And
Yeah.
sometimes it wasn't that way. Sometimes it's other things. And that's fun shit. That's the fun stuff,
Yeah.
right?
Absolutely.
Right? So
Hmm.
now, again, folks, I'm not going to say Highlander series is a 5-star show. It's not. But
Sure.
but that doesn't mean the storytelling devices in there weren't good sometimes. Sometimes they were fantastic, right? And using the past as a context to your future. Well, let's be honest, folks. Our history determines where we go to some degree.
Sure. Yeah. That is true. And you see that, um, sorry, like I said, our internet has been a chaos demon, and, and so Jen is trying to help from a distance, and I'm like,
So,
I can't do
Mr.
anything right now.
Jetstar, if you are listening, how you doing, buddy?
Oh, I will.
So,
Whoops.
further clarification, I met Jagtress here in person once upon a time in a mythical city of Ottawa during a convention.
Mythical. The capital of Canada is mythical.
Yes, but also, legitimately speaking, one of the strangest city personalities I've ever seen in one town. You have the
Oh,
capital. It's like you have the
oh, I
capital of
agree.
Canada, you have suburbia, and then you have outskirts, and they're all together,
Yeah.
and they're all different, right?
Yep.
I don't mind suburbia Ottawa. I'm
Hmm.
not sure about out of town Ottawa. And by the way, folks, out of town Ottawa is actually still inside Ottawa. It's strange, and
Yeah.
it's strange, right? And this is coming from a guy that lived in a place where there was a farm in the middle of town. So don't yeah, yeah, oh yeah,
Oh, okay.
right. Like I've lived in a place like a small enough town, it's small enough that there's homes, and in the middle of the town there's farmland, and it just it's there. It just is. I'm not again. It,
Wild. My next question is, what kind of farm? Like,
cattle farm, cattle
really?
farm. Yeah,
In the middle?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Now I'm just confused.
The world is all kinds of places, but the personality of the town was very one. Like the personality was again, it's a small town too, that's part of it, but it was very there was a feel. Ottawa's like got like schizophrenia. That's that like it's kind of like a schizo town. It's like there's capital of Canada. Oh shit, we are the capital of this country and we should act like that part. Then
Yeah.
there's suburban Ottawa, which is by and large chill, right? By and large chill, a little nuts, but like normal Canadian nuts. Then there's out of town Ottawa, which is like you're in the same space as the capital of the capital. Never mind the suburbia. Like that in itself is a little mind-boggling. But the capital of Canada and small town Ottawa are in the same space. And it's just like this is not how I imagined the capital of a country would be.
Yeah. It's so funny. There was a guy that I dated who decided to do like research on Ottawa, and he's like, your city is very strange because you have like the three rivers that kind of like cut you guys off, and yet you're still like this city past the river, kind of like depending on where
Yeah,
you are in Ottawa. And he's like, wild.
well, no, the last night I was there, like you saw the start of my journey getting off the seat, the equivalent of the C train or the train there. I decided to explore because I had a lot of time to kill. I explored
Mhm.
the city. Just well,
Yeah.
fuck it. I was at the convention all weekend. I want to see this city I have found myself into. And when I left the capital part of it with you, it became suburbia, and I kept going south toward the airport. And as I got further south toward the airport, suburbia disappeared, and small town Ottawa appeared. And it was like I
What
looked,
the
I
fuck?
saw, right,
Yeah.
and I looked back, and it's like no, the suburbia is right there. Like it's almost LA weird, and LA also because LA it's like
Really? I've actually not been to LA.
okay, so LA is it's more extreme in that you can be in a rich neighborhood, right, a really well-to-do neighborhood, and you could literally walk across the street and be in hell, and it's literally beside each other, like legitimately. I'm not even like right.
What?
Oh yeah, no. Like that's the thing. Like it like and this it's more pronounced there than other like all American big cities have this problem. Right? You can be in a really nice neighborhood and you just cross this magical line that no one knows is there sometimes, and suddenly it's like, what the hell did I just walk into? Now some cities are more extreme about it than others, but
Mhm.
it's just like that's just the line of have and have not just expressed in a real way, and you see it
Mhm.
and you recognize it for what it is in the United States. um it's like I'm living in a nice-ish area in Calgary. I'm not like older but nice-ish. One person says this is a ghetto. It's like nah, it's not a ghetto, and I
Oh
laughed
yeah,
at it.
it's
I
like you
laughed.
haven't seen anything yet.
Right? It's like you haven't seen one. It's like, what do you think of when you ghetto? She asked me. It's like I lived in Detroit. Like I have a very different
Yeah,
I have a very different concept of what a ghetto is, and
sure.
and she looked at me. It's like, oh, it's like, yeah. Now I will say this. No, and this is actually one of the nice things. This part of Calgary is one of the few spots in Calgary where I don't see a lot of homeless people. Right? Neighborhoods now have gotten to the point that
Yeah.
there's homeless people everywhere now, and that's like Vancouver was an outlier. Now it's the norm, and I'm not a big fan of it at all.
Yeah. Okay. Can we hold up for 1 second?
Sure.
Did I die? Okay.
No.
1 second. How do I hide the camera, or will you do that?
Okay, so she's playing, folks. We'll give her a minute.
Okay. I'm just gonna move.
Okay. Gonna move. Okay. I don't know what's going on, folks. I watched this, and now I'm doing this commentary in this little voice like this. As like I said, we are winding down 1008 of just joshing, and oh wow, I got company here. I'm watching adjustments on the background there. So to everybody watching this show, hey, feel free to say hello. Like I said, I am winding down the Twitch era of the show. I appreciate everybody that has come on this. So let me know if you want to say a quick hello. Say a quick hello. But yeah, it has been a wild ride. What is going? Are you like changing over there? She's gonna like come back in like a brand new costume. That's what I'm expecting now. Do 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 do. All right, let's take a quick look here. Let's take a quick look. Actually, fun question here. When she comes back, whenever she comes back, she's right there in this mysterious green room. And but I am ending the podcast aspect of this channel. Oh, she's back. She's back.
Okay, sorry about that.
No, it's okay.
I don't know why we decided to do this in the middle of an interview, but whatever. Okay.
Oh, okay. I don't know. I thought you were like transforming into a Power Ranger. I don't know. I was walking into this. It's Morphin time. No, anyways, because but
Transformers, yes.
Yeah. So no, what I was saying is I was talking in a voice just like this for a little bit as I was trying to do commentary what was going on, because I saw you in the background over there doing. It's like, what is she doing? Is she changing? Is she like part of the deal? I don't know, but
no, unplugging the router that is like a meter from me, and then I was looking at Discord to see what he said to make sure it was wait a few minutes before you plug it back in. So I was like, are you sure?
Okay.
So I was looking at Discord.
All right. Hello, Discord, by the way. Do you want to say a quick hello?
Yes, exactly that.
Yeah, no. I'm in an odd spot. Like I actually have to install OBS and do a proper stream stuff now.
Yes, I'm so excited.
I don't know how often I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna be warning you straight up, because it's so. The other part of this too, I might actually get up in a second myself. I don't know if I did like, obviously I still probably am going to do versions of drink and draws on this show.
Sure.
I don't know if I don't know how many of them you've actually watched.
I do lurk, but normally when you do the drink and draws, like 5 to 10 other people I moderate for are all live at the same time, so I'm like all over the place.
Yeah, gotcha. Sure. So I might still do those. I might still do the odd one here and there. I like them. They're different, and doing a drawing stream is actually a fun idea. And also, I don't know if you've noticed, I think I've become almost good. I don't know how that happened exactly.
It takes practice. Like with everything, it takes practice. You're talking about, worrying about streaming. We all start somewhere. If I go back into the archives of recorded old streams sometime around when I first started, I'll show you like the difference what my stream is today versus what my stream was back then. Night and day, like totally different beasts.
Oh yeah, no, like this is like I'm deciding like I'm picking a Tails game. I'm gonna be doing it if I do this, it's going to be a Tails game, right?
Hell yeah.
What one it'll be probably the Berseria I tried way back in the day. It'll probably be that one.
Sure.
Or like I'll just be doing retro games like that or Chrono Trigger
Yeah.
or something
Hell
some
yeah.
fun, right? I'll be the retro gamer on here because I'm not. I played Street Fighter 6 at San Diego Comic Con. I'm not good
Yeah.
anymore. I've come to this guy.
No, it's wild. Okay, so way back in the day, my brother and I played a metric fuck ton of the DuckTales game. I can't even remember what system it was on, but we played DuckTales. And then they remastered it and like re-released it like 3 years ago or something. I'm like, I have to buy this game, right? So I bought it. I couldn't even get past the first stage. I was like, do I suck this bad now at like old school games that I used to be
Yeah.
really good at?
Oh yeah, no, because old school games are hard. Like
Yeah.
they're actually hard, right?
It's wild.
And that's the thing. Like they're legitimately hard games, and you have to have. So Street Fighter 6 is just like the reason why I suck at that game is because they've evolved way beyond what I was. Like Street
Yeah.
Fighter 3 way back in the day, right? Street Fighter 3 back in the day, I was okay at. Street Fighter 4, by and large, felt like Street Fighter 2. Now I didn't play Street Fighter 5 very much. So I can't say anything there, but up to 4, I was okay. Now, 4,
Yeah.
I was amazingly mediocre, and I was okay at being amazingly mediocre. But I could go in there, I could do some of my old combos I remember from way back when I started that still work to this day,
Yeah.
right? And a couple of them still do. But now they got like new intuitive controls. It doesn't feel like my Street Fighter anymore. It feels like something it has become a different monster. Now,
Yeah.
that all said, folks, I will say it's a good thing it has become a different monster. It shouldn't be like what it was when I was a kid. It should be better. And I
Sure.
think overall, just based on the quality of fighting games I've been watching and observing, it's not like like all fighting games have gotten like significant improvements and upgrades. Mortal Kombat looks so sweet.
Oh
Street
my
Fighter looks
god. Mortal Kombat has evolved into this beast that is just wild. Like I can't even like I used to play Mortal Kombat and then I look at the Mortal Kombat today, I'm like, that is even more brutal than I even want to think about. Like, Jesus fuck.
That's right. No, but that's it, right? That's but games evolved, and and they should.
Yeah.
Now, the question is, do
Mhm.
I let myself become good at games again? Like not RPGs I'm still good at because I still play those regularly. But do I get good at
Sure.
games again,
Sea
right?
of Stars. Get
Because
it.
yeah, because that's the thing. Like as a retro gamer, I can pretend I'm good, right? And
Yeah.
I can be relatively entertainer, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? But like to get into these new games would require hours and hours of time, and
Hmm.
I don't know that I want to do it, right?
Yeah.
And also with everything else going on with me, it's just like
You don't
I don't know
necessarily
if I can
have
do
the
that. But
time either, right?
yeah,
Hmm.
that's it. That's what it comes down to. Like there's only so much time I can sink into. I've already given up television by and large. The only thing I watch right now is like regularly is AEW wrestling. That's it. Like that's all I
Yeah.
watch regularly. When I'm not here, I'm doing business. I'm working at the hockey arena. Like I work for like my side gig is the Calgary Flames. I work for the Flames.
Oh, nice. That is cool.
Yes. Yes. I won't comment I won't comment too much on the negatives. Like there are some downsides to it, but
Sure.
like every job. But
Yep.
the cool thing about that building is that everybody's there. Like everybody goes there, and I mean everybody. It doesn't like what I mean by that. It's not just hockey players or the coaches. I met actually the coach of the Calgary Flames after he was fired. Actually, that was
Wow.
legitimately speaking. Daryl Sutter is one of the nicest guys I've ever met. He's super nice when he's not on coach mode.
Sure.
He's a farm guy. He's really cool. Like very chill dude. I enjoyed my chat with him. It was brief, but it was enjoyable. Like he's a good guy. But that's my point. Like you meet people there, but you don't just meet them. You meet journalists, politicians, CEOs, people working the kitchen, people like it more unifies to me more than anything else that no matter like because of the nature of that building, everybody goes there. And because everybody goes there, everybody's the same. And I think that is the most wonderful thing about working at the arena that I picked up and why I like it is it doesn't feel like a place where just one person or another person goes to, right? It's just anybody can go there. So that's the coolest thing about the job by a shot. You can end up in the elevator with Metallica. I'm saying that like, and you might say, no, you could legitimately on that night end up in an elevator with Metallica.
Yeah.
One of the guys I work with, he actually ended up meeting the band Nickelback. They were doing like a birthday party thing apparel.
What?
Yeah,
that is amazing.
No, it's like that's what it can happen. I ended up like I mentioned AEW wrestling. They actually came into the Saddle Dome. I had to change a pop machine. So here I am walking in the same place. I literally watched CM Punk come out, getting ready to go to his show. I got to see Jake the Snake Roberts. I got to see Orange Cassidy. I got to see a few of the other guys that were there.
Wild.
Yeah, right. And that's it, right? Like, and again, I'm working, so I'm not like. There's a little part of me like I'm past the point where I just become. I'm sure there are people that can still make me fanboy. I'll never say that, but I will. But
sure.
But I don't have that anymore because I do this all the time.
Yeah, right? You get accustomed to it.
But I still don't take away from the fact that I had a brief minute watching Jake the Snake Roberts and Orange Cassidy talking about something in the back while I was fixing. Right, I was literally right there. And I was just like, wow. And Jake the Snake was somebody I watched wrestling when I was a kid. So it's like that's a really like, but that's a surreal thing, right? That's a really surreal thing.
Yeah.
Right.
It's amazing how certain events or certain jobs can change your perspective so wildly about how you view people. Like I've talked previously about how CanCon for me became a revelation because here's all these authors that you put on these pedestals, like they're amazing, like they've created all these rich worlds that you grew up with and just immersed yourself in, and then you talk with them and they have the same issues, they have the same ideas about like how something could be better, they've got the same likes and music. Like my favorite was talking to oh my lord, I've forgotten his name. He is now doing like mushrooms, like selling mushrooms or something.
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, oh, you know who I'm talking about because it's so weird. And I'm like, how did you go from writing to mushrooms? Like,
why? Yeah, he was on the show. We talked about it. And
I know. That's why I mentioned it because I knew you would remember.
Oh yeah, it was wild.
That, I'm like, what the hell? But I was having a conversation with him at CanCon once, and he's like, so do you listen to a lot of music? He's like, do you listen to Japanese music? I'm like, yeah, all the time. So I list off a couple of things and I'm like, have you heard of Miyavi? And he's like, who's Miyavi? I'm like, he's J rock, J metal, depending on the song you listen to. And he's like, okay, so I play one of my songs off of my phone, and he was like head banging like in the middle of CanCon, like, oh, this
totally, yeah.
Like very humanizing, right?
No, well, yeah, no. So I'm trying to get Tanya Huff back before I wrap this.
Yes, I love Tanya Huff. She's amazing.
Yeah, I'm trying because See, unofficially, she's never had her own episode. Unofficially, she has. Unofficially, she has. Officially, that was supposed to be an interview with Julie Ternada. It
Yeah,
starts right. It
yeah.
started with Julie, and it ended up with Tanya, and it was just like, I'm not
That is,
even mad.
I mean, that's a great combo right there. They're both fantastic. I just
So,
love them both.
so if you look at the episode title on that one, folks, it's Julie Ternea with 3 question marks. And the reason why is Julie's only there for about 10 minutes. And then she shifts over to Tanya. And I talked to Tanya for about an hour. Like, it's a great
Yeah.
conversation, right? So I want to do an official Tanya Huff conversation just because I've never officially have talked to Tanya on the show. It's like I should before I wrap this version of it up. I should have her back.
Yeah.
I got her. I have Nicole DeBart. I have Jane Taylor coming back because Jane's just hilarious.
Yep.
And then I'm looking for just a couple more people. And then there's another person from Chimera Press I met at San Diego Comic-Con. She's coming on in October. At least one agent is coming on the show before it's all said and done. Maybe 2, but 1 for sure.
Very cool. Yeah.
And then yeah. That's my wild
And then you
crazy
put a bow on it.
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
Like I said, my life has become this weird. Yeah, I don't live a normal life, and I'm very very I'm getting out of here. I'm getting on the road before the housing bubble bursts and everything collapses. Right?
Probably a good idea.
So it's 6 months. I give it about 6 months tops before we hit that up here, because I don't know how it doesn't happen, right? Because no one can afford to live. No one can afford to live anywhere.
No, I agree. And that is true from everything that I've heard. I've got friends out in BC who are telling me like, and so it's this much, and I'm like, let me guess, and that's for like a studio apartment, right? Because you're in like one of the, if not the most expensive place in Canada, so of course I expect the price to be like, wee,
Yeah,
it's ridiculous.
but it's not just there. It's even in your neck of the woods. Like,
oh, I know. Jet and I have been looking for a place for ever, and it's just like everything we keep finding in the relative price range we're looking for has a tendency of being like rooming with someone. It's not like your own apartment kind of deal, and I'm like, really? Like you're killing me, Smalls. Like that's really the response I have.
But folks, I should point this out. This is true in Windsor, Windsor, Ontario is the same thing, and there's nothing there, right? It's not just a Canada-wide problem. It's not one city, one section. That's like, you expect Vancouver to be expensive, and Vancouver's too expensive as Jag has disappeared into the space-time continuum. All right. There you go. She's back.
I'm sorry.
She's back.
Okay. I hope it doesn't die before the end. I'm sorry.
No,
the space-time continuum and everywhere across Canada continue.
Yeah. So everywhere across Canada is feeling this crunch, and you can see just by the amount of people that are on the street. And Vancouver is one thing, and even Vancouver was too much. Like, honestly, there is something very strange about living in a city just to work there.
Yeah. I imagine that would feel really strange.
Yeah.
As a person who, sorry.
No, keep going.
This delay internet thing. Okay. Even as someone like sort of in the gaming space, the idea of moving to a place in order to have a job is weird to me. Like, as much as I want to travel and do things, it's also like I want to end up in a place that I'm going to enjoy being. and not just throw like caution to the wind, because you don't know what to expect. Like if your visa is going to continue, if the work is going to cover the visa cost, like all of these different things. There's not a lot of stability at the beginning, and it can be kind of terrifying depending on what you go into. So yeah, like you don't want to go to a place where the cost is going to be so much that like there's going to be nothing you can do, right?
Well, I'd go a step further. What this is going to be an old man yelling at clouds. Shut up. But
Excellent. I see the gif. Okay.
yeah, so it's just I think the big thing is there is virtually no job anymore that you can get that you come out ahead at. We're not talking just McDonald's anymore. We're talking any job.
Yeah.
The prices are at such a point now that it almost like in one very weird sense, it almost makes no difference what job you have. It almost doesn't. Zero is
Yeah.
still zero, right? Zero is still zero.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
so why kill yourself? Like if you're not going to get ahead, why do
Hmm.
it? Now, I say it like that because now it's not about sacrificing. Like, okay, buying a house. Let's say buying a house. Let's say we're going to buy a house. Okay. So let's say the house costs like probably what they should, which probably in this country probably should be no more on average than about 200 grand, right? On
I agree.
average.
Yep.
All right. Okay. You know that for $200,000, say you make $40,000-$50,000 a year, that it's going to take you 6-7 years. You're going to struggle. But at the
Yep.
end of that 6-7 years, house yours. And even when accounting for ups and downs and lefts and rights, that's doable.
Sure.
But if you're paying $400,000-$500,000 for a home and you don't have the money up front, that means all your paycheck is essentially going to keep the lights on.
Yep.
Right? And ends at $40,000-$50,000 range, because $40,000-$50,000, if you do the math, that's $600,000, right? Let's say the average home right now is probably about 4 5 6, somewhere in there, depending on where part of the country you're in. More if you're in
Yep.
like a city like Toronto or Vancouver or even Calgary here. But
Yep.
you're looking at those prices, it's like, okay, I would have to make $60 an hour to justify that house.
Sure.
Like, it's just math, right?
Yeah.
So if I'm not making $60 an hour, right, does an $18 an hour job to a $28 an hour job really make a difference against that? No.
No. And it's funny, I was reading an article recently that was saying like people can't afford to buy, so everyone is renting anyways. Like there is literally like no one has their eyes set right now on buying because it's literally an impossibility at this point. The
Yeah,
way the housing market has gone, like it's like why try if like the market is just going to be like no.
well, that's just it, right? Like you gotta look at it, like you have to look at it honestly, right? You have to look at it honestly from the point of view of, okay, what am I getting at? Again, coming out ahead, not breaking even. That sucks, right? Not being in
Mhm.
that your ass in debt. How do I get ahead? And again, it wasn't that long ago where you could get ahead on 40, 50,000 a year. You could,
Sure. Yeah.
right? That's not even 10 years old, right?
Yeah.
Just right. But again, at this particular stage, too many people are going in a situation where, I mean, that's how you motivate people. Like you can have a guy working the trades, for example, working like right, even those guys, right?
Mhm.
Now they're looking at this like, is this worth it?
Yeah.
If they're doing that, right?
Where's the hope for the rest of us, right?
Yes, exactly. So that's the Canadian housing market in 2023. Now I think 2024 is basically going to say, you know what, we can't do this no more. It's got to go
Yeah.
down. How far it goes down, shrug,
Exactly.
right? But it has to go down. I don't like significantly too. It's not going to be small. But how much I don't know. But it's not going to be small because no one can pay this.
Yeah. Yeah. So
All right, that is the doom and gloom section of this.
doom and gloom. Okay, give me one more half second. I'm gonna plug the thing back in.
Okay.
Wish me luck.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, we are experiencing a router being connected and disconnected on the air. And while we're doing that, let's have some fun here. To anybody watching or listening, depending on where you are and what you're doing here. First off, if you are watching, thank you for watching.
There we go.
I am doing a. Are you back already? You are
Yeah,
back
I
already.
just had to plug it back in and then report back to Jet when
Okay,
and
cool.
if it decides to work. That's it.
Oh wow, I was gonna do a whole spiel because I was basing on
You were prepared this time.
I'm prepared. Okay. Scratch that, folks. I have nothing more to say about that. Let's continue with the conversation.
Perfect. 10 out of 10.
Well, hey, listen, I'm pretty good at going with the flow, and that's doing the show. I mean, you just learn. It's like, okay, my guest has got this. My guest has a baby. My guest has an emergency. My shit disconnects.
Your
Right?
phone goes off.
My phone goes off. Speaking of which, I am going to do this just like magic.
Exactly like that. Yeah, as because I've been streaming for about 8 years and I've been in performing arts, in dancing and singing and everything under the sun, basically acting. You do learn skills to just kind of roll with the punches. So even when streaming, when technical issues happen, to be able to fill that downtime or be able to get back to the audience and be like, hold on, internet's being garbage right now, we're reconnecting, like, finding ways to let people know what's going on, or at least just kind of to fly with it and be like, all right, so if this is the problem, we're going to play this game instead, and that kind of thing. Just because otherwise, like, the show must go on, as they always say, right? So you've got to find a way to fill that time. And this is, I give a lot of props to people in esports when you're doing like 10-12 hour stint of shoutcasting like the games, or like casting sports, right, where they're giving you the play-by-play of what's going on the field or on the rink or whatever. There are points in time where like someone gets into an accident, and so then you start talking about like the statistics of the players, or like the history of the team, or like the rivalry between who they're up against, and you just find something to sort of keep going. Otherwise it's just dead air and people would be like, wah wah.
So I did dead air experiment once. We're gonna talk about commentators in a second. I did dead air experiment once. Way back. There's an episode on my audio area with Con Lavery was my guest. We started in a restaurant. We went from one restaurant to the other. I actually I kept the whole thing in, going from one to the other.
Oh my lord. That must have been really interesting to see like the points at which people are like, I got nothing to say.
Well, no, because you heard us going across the street. You heard us going from one place to the other, sitting down, continuing to chat. I didn't realize I had recorded it. I didn't realize it until I got home.
Oh wow.
Right. So I kind of have a rule with this show, and it's like this. If it happens, I try to keep it in. It doesn't matter what the episode is. Like it could be a political debate, it can be dead air, it can be a baby crying, it could be a dog barking, it could be an emergency bathroom break, right? Whatever. It's real. So it's part of the show.
Sure.
So I actually kept the whole thing in. One of my buddies actually goes, I can't believe you did it. I love that you did it. Right. So that was my dead air experiment. That was my dead air experiment. Um, Commentary is the art form. You're telling a story, like you're
Mhm.
using the sports. Like my thing with commentary is it's got to be real. You can
Sure.
have a bias about the home team or the number one team or blah 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 blah. But if someone's getting their ass kicked, you got to call it like you see it.
Sure.
Honestly, I like sports casting like from streaming. I like that better because they're a little more honest about that.
Yeah.
Commentators commentators will try to keep their narrative going as long as possible, and it's been this way forever. Um, Now I get that sponsors are paying for a certain thing, but the thing is, there's something about sport. The thing about sports, there's a brutal honesty once the game's being played out. Like you can't hide the
Sure.
fact. Like I still remember back in my day, folks, when the clouds were fluffy. Um,
Clowns were fluffy.
right.
Love it.
I remember when the second year Detroit Red Wings made it to the Stanley Cup against Philadelphia,
Mhm.
and and Canada had this weird love affair with Eric Lindros. I'm not entirely sure why, but they did, and
Yeah.
and and so Detroit soundly kicked their ass. Right, first game
Mhm.
they won. This is in Philly. They went to Philadelphia to beat them
Yeah.
first game. First game, oh, things will be wonderful and magical. They'll find their way back and they'll do it. The second
Yep.
game, Detroit wins again. And oh, it's still good. It's still I'm like, you just beat them at home. They're going to Detroit now, and then no, and they're going to hostile territory. You should be panicking a little bit. No,
Yeah. Yeah.
no, Lindros is gonna do it. This is destiny. Blah 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 blah. Detroit beats them again, game three. Then the narrative has no choice but now to go. Okay, no one's come back from this, and we now look like idiots. But to save any credibility we have to finally acknowledge that Detroit is the team, right?
Yeah.
That was the whole thing about it. That was the whole so good commentating has to have like a little bit more, hey, listen, they got the brakes beat out of them, and it's okay to mention that someone's getting their ass kicked, right?
Yeah.
Because um that's the other thing about commentary. If the game sucks because it's either lopsided or it's just a terrible game, that's when the commentator has to make the most of it because
Yep.
when the game's good, you don't have to say very much. You just have to occasionally say something to the audience because you're like, okay, I gotta move the action along, but really, this is a humdinger of a game, ladies and gentlemen,
A
right? He's going,
humdinger. You're
yeah.
showing your age, Josh.
Hey, listen, I go hell of a game if you want, but honestly, right. We got this guy going down the ice. He's passing it to this guy, and oh, there's an interception. And it's really easy to get excited, especially if the action's really good.
Yeah.
But if the action's terrible, the ice is shit.
Yeah.
The game is just a brutal thing to watch. It's like, well, I'd rather pull my teeth off and watch this game. But to the people that are still high, that are still watching this for some strange reason,
Oh
I
yeah.
have to entertain you, right? And that's when a commentator does their best work is when things are terrible. Not when things are good,
Yeah.
but things are bad.
Exactly. And you really get to see how much people know and relate to and bring out in that commentary, which is much more, interesting sometimes than just the individual. Like I used to do a lot of moderation for Rocket League, and after you watch, 3 tournaments a week every week for ever, and writing articles. So I was doing like recaps, and I gotta give it to the people who give like exciting recaps of sport like hockey or whatever, because I tried everything. I tried like the pitting the narrative of the two players going up against each other once again in this like heated battle. Like I tried that. I tried the whole like, let's break down the statistics of the boring as shit. Nobody read those articles, like it's hard to find that happy medium. And commentators, like, you're doing it live, like there is no like properly scripted like in post edits, like this is what it is, this is like you react in the moment and just go, and it's a whole other skill. Like casting is crazy.
The thing is, okay, so in terms of that, again, this is about storytelling at the end of the day, right?
Yeah.
So what you got to do is you got to look at, okay, you look at well, sports has a really basic concept in that it's a good guy versus a bad guy. Oh, it's almost like professional wrestling that way, in
Yeah.
that there's a good guy and there's a bad guy, but most of the time the good guy's the home team and the bad guy is whoever's coming into the town, right?
Mhm.
So like break it down really simple. So what you're looking for, if it's a team, why are these people going at each other? Is there a history I can share off of? But you got to really care about that stuff too, right? And that's the other
Yeah.
thing too. If you don't, like I would, yeah, you do a stat episode once, like, hey, I'm really smart, and then I read it, and you're like, I wasn't that smart because I can't even
Yeah.
get through it, right? I
Yeah,
can't even get
exactly.
through
You're just
this.
like, falling asleep. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't want that. If something's you want to excite people, right? The only time statistics are interesting, honestly, is gambling.
Sure. Yeah, because you're actually invested in that, right? It's like, especially if you're the one that's like trying to play the numbers, that's when it becomes interesting because you have something to gain or lose there, right?
That's right. So no, because now I've turned this into game theory. Now it's no longer numbers; it's game theory, right?
Yep, yep.
Right. So that's what I've done. It is no longer just numbers on a page. I'm not watching a game being played. I'm interacting with the game now, right?
Exactly.
So I don't give a rat's ass what the odds are of me drawing in this hand if I'm not playing it. But if I'm fucking playing, I'm playing it. You better believe it. Yeah, I want to know what the odds are. What beats this? What are the actual numbers in my head of how this works? Because I can figure it out. And then the rest of it is how good I am at fishing information out on people.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Especially with specific games.
Yeah.
You're fishing for information from every, and it's funny because video games do that way more than I think people realize. It's like, what can you hook the players on that will keep them coming back? And then once you see enough statistics of like where people are biting, you can go, okay, this is how we're gonna play this out, this is what we're gonna do, you know.
Well, okay. So that honestly depends on the game. Like for me, that one's
Sure.
all about the game of choice because the game of choice will determine how important statistics are, but information, but the break like go to the next level. It's about the information you're presenting to the audience. It's very much show don't tell, right? You're showing
Yeah.
the information, right? If I'm playing poker and I'm like, okay, how often will my pocket aces get busted, right? Pre-flop, it can't be done. What's the odds of someone tying me here?
Yeah.
Right? Because I have the best hand. So my objective in the pre-flop is to eliminate as many of these motherfuckers as I can before we get to the actual flop. Because the flop, at that point, the numbers change. Right? I
Exactly.
am winning right here. I am absolutely winning right here. I'm playing this.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? So but the where it gets tricky is I want to make money here too. So how do I sucker people into giving me their money?
Exactly. Yeah, you've got to play just enough. Like poker has its own level. Like I just remember this was admittedly, like I probably should have seen this coming. I wasn't in the game, I was just sort of watching the game, and I used to be part of a group of people that every week we would be playing Texas Hold'em, right? And this one guy sat at the table and he was like, well, I haven't played with this group before, and so he grabs his hand, everything is fine. He throws in like the chips and whatever, and at one point it comes around, and so then the person who's running it is like, well, now you have to put in this amount in order to match what is currently in the pool. And he's like, oh, that's this amount, oh shit, I didn't know. And he like freaks out for a while. It turns out that was all part of his plan, to psych out like half of the other players, to be like, oh, I feel bad for him, he bet like too much money, so we're gonna fold, instead of potentially taking him head on, because they legitimately had better hands. Like, he had shit. Like, I was looking at his hand, he had nothing, and he ended up like winning the round because he played a really clever little trick. Now, is that going to work in a full-on tournament? Probably not. Like, we saw World Poker Tour like live when we were in Vegas, and that was crazy. But to be able to pull something like that off, like, that's not just acting skills, but that's also being able to like understand the people at the table, like when they're going to be like, oh, I feel bad for you. It worked once. That was all he got.
Well, yeah. Well, no. See, once they know you're a liar, you're done. You're just done.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, what happened? You're full of shit, and I know you're full of shit now. So I'm not gonna give you the same mercy. I'm now going to treat you like the sack of shit you are, and I'm going to take your money.
Oh
Right?
yeah.
Right. So you gotta be careful. That's why you won't see too many of those kinds of plays. Like the beautiful thing about poker is actually your ability to lie.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Right. It's your ability to lie, because if you can get yourself in a position where people think you have stuff, that's better than having the cards. It's actually better than having them, because
Oh sure.
they'll fold to you. Every
Exactly. They'll make assumptions based on
Yeah.
if they believe you, right?
Well, yeah, and the thing is, you got to give yourself credibility somehow, some way, right? Right. Uh, um, for me, I find with me, it's like I don't lie well. I'm not saying I don't lie. I just don't lie well. So
Mhm.
I often find myself in poker when I play. I find myself get challenged a lot more than average. I'm trying to, and sometimes I'm legitimately trying to bullshit you, but sometimes it's just like, because, but I try to, if am going to bullshit you, I try to get it out of the way as early as I can, because I want you to believe me, right? I want you to disbelieve me, right?
Yeah.
Early, so
Yeah.
that when I nail ya, you then do believe me, right?
Exactly.
That's
Yeah.
just how it goes. And
Yeah.
my problem though is I get too aggressive in poker, especially if I'm winning.
Yeah.
I
I
I'm
mean,
someone's ATM after I get really ahead.
I mean, I feel like there are several like there's specific types of games where people will become more aggressive than other games, and at least it's more obvious. Sometimes people are competitive without you realizing how competitive they are, and sometimes that's the nature of the game. And that's true not just in card games, but that's also true with video games. Like, at first, some people would be like, oh well, this isn't that important or whatever, but then you put them in the situation and over time they become like hyper aggressive, and it's really interesting. And I'm guilty of that too. Like, at the beginning of doing any kind of PvP in Destiny, I was like, no, I'm going to run away from everything. I don't want to engage. I can't possibly win that fight. To now, I'm not right up in your face, but I am a lot more aggressive in how I play and how I respond to plays as well. And it's a really interesting shift.
Well, yeah, because you figured out that you can do it, and you probably killed your fair share of players. And you're like,
Yep. Yep.
and once that happens, you're like, why the fuck was I so scared to begin with?
Yeah.
Right? Right?
Yeah.
And that's what happens, right? You get yourself some credibility, some practice, some patience. That's the thing. Like for me in poker, I'm just gonna do poker before we get to PvP.
Mhm.
Poker, I find I like the rush of winning, but also just the fact that I can be the aggressor gives me a tendency to want to be aggressive because I
Sure.
want to bully the table. I want to clean some people out. That's when I get
Sure.
that's when I get in trouble. Now, if I'm
Yep.
just playing up until that point, I'll win hands, I'll lose hands, I'll like, sometimes you play bad hands on purpose because you have to. Sometimes you play good hands and you lose and you accept that. It's part of the game. But when I'm winning, it's like, okay, how do I handle success? No, PvP, like you have to be okay with being a monster. Like you have to. You
Yeah.
have to become the monster. And and the whole thing about that is because if you're here, you're here for one reason. Right? There's usually in most of these games, PvP are in specific zones. Which means if you're
Mhm.
stepping into that zone, you know what you're in, what you signed up for.
Sure. Yeah. Like you get to know the maps, you get to know the possibilities of like what lanes people are going to take. You're going to get to know what types of weapons they're going to use against you. Yeah, it becomes a little bit easier, and sometimes that comes with practice where you're like, okay, my shooting ability may not be where I want it to be, but I understand how you're going to play against me based on the map. Like, I talk to people who do a lot of PvP and they're like, so what's your PvP spec? I'm like, what PvP spec? And I'm like, I don't change from PvE to PvP when it comes to my armor necessarily. What I change is what weapon I'm going to use on the specific map, because some maps favor long range weapons and some maps bad idea. You're gonna die if you're gonna try and snipe at close range. Like that's just a stupid plan. And so that's where like experience will teach you, okay, here's what this map is usually like. Here's most likely what the people are going to play with to combat your team. So it's all a giant interesting thought experiment in certain cases where you're just like, what do people use on these specific maps?
Yep.
So
Well, and well, okay, so I play Magic. I play Commander. Okay, so
yeah,
Commander's a little harder to figure out because there's only one ofs in every deck. But the
sure,
basic premise is the same. You're trying to fish out information. Like there's only so many
yeah,
paths they can get to victory,
yeah.
right? So what role are they playing? And how do I counteract a role? Am I like there is an old game theory column about Magic called "Who's the Beatdown?" So in a
Mhm.
one-on-one game of Magic, one of the players is the control player, the other player is the beatdown,
Yeah.
and what the player who figures out what their role is first usually wins,
Interesting.
right?
See, so I used to play Magic like way back when it like first came out, right? So the commander decks I've only tried playing once. And as per, typical, my brother was like, all right, well, you haven't played this in like 15 years, so here I'm gonna loan you my commander deck, and so you get the choice of this one or this one. And of course I pick the vampire deck because
Uh
it's
huh.
me. So of course I'm like, yeah, let's do this. And then I'm like, some of these abilities are really cool and I kind of really like this. And I'm also like, but magic is expensive and I kind of don't want to go back for that reason because Jesus Christ. But also it's like I still have a huge tie to my original deck. It was called the Neverending Story. I had 120 cards in that deck, so double your normal because most people did between 60 and 80 cards, and I had 120. It was a blue-white deck. I had every artifact in the game. So I had every cop. I had like the rack, I had everything to just screw people over. If people didn't kill me within the first couple of like turns, you were dead. I would play the long game. No game, a wild jet. Uh
My Jet.
he says hello. Um it would get to a point where people would be like, all right, this game is going to be 2 hours long, because I never had shorter than like a 2 hour game. It was wonderful. Not for them, but for me, because I would just sit there and play the long game. That's where I'm comfortable. And then I entered my first tournament, and the first tournament, second round of the tournament, like I'm feeling pretty good. No one can take on my never ending story deck. There's nothing anybody could do, right? I was unstoppable. I was like, I don't know, 13, 14 at the time. And I go up against this guy, strip mine, taps my mana so I can't do shit. Does this for like 4 or 5 turns, gets a couple of little, like, 2/1 creatures, walks across the field, and tink, 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 whittles me down, kills me in, I think, I don't know, 5 turns. And I'm like, you son of a bitch. And the reason why I needed that many cards, by the way, is because I had the OG Leviathan. The one that's like 10/10, that took like 8+2, and then you had to tap 2 mana every time you wanted to untap, 2 mana if you wanted to attack, 2 mana to do something else. You needed fucking mana. So all this guy did was like deny, 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 and oh, you're dead. I was devastated. I never entered a tournament after that again.
Okay, so I've played Magic 3 different eras, like
Mhm.
competitively, like
Yep.
ish. I played in Ice Age, which is around when you
Yep.
were commenting, right?
Yeah,
Ice Age,
that's exactly when. Yep.
right? It's Ice Age. I played during the first Mirrodin block,
Hmm.
and I played through the second Mirrodin block.
Yep.
And after that, and yes, folks, I've been around that long. So the first time around, magic spells was a big deal. Second time around, Ravager Affinity was a big deal. The third time around, like, I think my favorite era of Magic was the 2013 to 2018 when I like played competitively.
Hmm.
All that stuff there in that era was fun stuff. I missed the end of that. Um, but up to that point is good. Now no one plays standard anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree with you. Like everything I've heard about from people who have either gone back to Magic or just have been consistently playing, they're like Commander or nothing. Like I don't hear anyone playing anything different, to be honest with, at least with the people that I know. Like
Modern
that's
still
not
played.
the only
Pioneers
way.
played. Right? Pioneers played as
Yep.
well. It's a bigger format. Standard's not played at all. And they, like I said, but Commander's like the most fun format because again, you build 100 cards, you build a 100 card deck, and those 100 cards are they're just fun. They're very different kind of. They're like, see, the first era of Magic is the most romantic in the sense that yes, there were stupid cards from that era, but
Mhm.
everybody did stuff when they played the game. By and large, stasis players can die in the fire. But I mean,
Yeah.
but that was the whole thing. So Commander gives that feeling of like I'll go to a casual Commander night at a game store still, and I don't need to win. I don't care. I'm more interested. I do end up winning a lot. That might just be it. I don't
Practice.
usually win the
You've got
big
a
one.
good deck.
What?
I said you've got a good deck and
Yeah,
practice.
my commander right here, folks. Chainer.
Oh, nice.
So
Hell yeah.
it's a reanimator with a bit of a twist. That's what it is, and it's just a fun deck. It's not the most powerful. It's not the least powerful by any stretch of the imagination. I do some dirty, nasty shit to people, but um, I play the game and I try, but what I care about is interactivity, right? Like that's what game,
Yeah.
like all games, you want to, when you go to a table or you play, grab a console, you want to feel like what you do matters. That's really
Yeah.
games. That's the thing, right? Now, some of us are better winners than others,
Yeah. That's true. Or
but some of us are better losers than others too, and I'm not downplaying that because that's important.
yeah.
But folks, um, what you learn is it's the interactivity the game gives you that's the real reward. That's what we enjoy. Doesn't matter
Yeah.
what the game is.
Exactly. At the end of the day, like I tell people in Discord repeatedly, like I don't give a damn if we give up on Destiny. Honestly, what matters to me more is that I have a community of people where we can talk about games, where we can talk about life, where we can talk about things. Like it's that connection that video gaming and games in general have brought us together, but you end up forging lifelong friendships out of that. And I think because we are in this point where like yeah, people will go out, to restaurants and stuff, but you don't necessarily meet people as a result, right? Sometimes it's just, you're wanting connection with people, and that doesn't always happen depending on what your habits are and where you're going. But with the internet, you can meet people and connect with people on multiple different levels that you might not necessarily in a social setting.
So this is what I will say. This is the one thing I will say about the Twitch community. I'm not gonna say this about, or in Discord. I think more so. Um, like gamers are the biggest community freaks out there, and I say that in like the best way.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, you guys are the most rabid fan base. I'm a gamer, but I see myself as a creative first, a gamer second, and
Hmm.
Sonya is on here. You know, the thing about Sonya, real quick before we finish the point and get come to near the end of this bad boy.
Yep.
Um, I love that she kept my awkwardly placed suggestion. Like that's literally in all her videos now.
I I love that. Just I actually miss I've commented to her about how I would rather like go back to the times where she would do like the epic fails, the kind of meh, like it was almost a fail, and then like the huge successes because of how much she screams at video games or at the controller or whatever. It's wildly entertaining. Like that is a whole other level, and everyone like flocks to her stream. Like Poetic and I have brought people to her streams because it's just that entertaining, and it's just like you don't have to be great at video games, you just have to have fun, you
Well,
know?
it's her monologues. That's the thing is, it's her monologues. That's the
Yep.
thing that really gets me with her, because she will kill things she's not supposed to, and she will actually go on a rant is not the right word. It's just the way
A
she's talking.
tirade.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that right. She's going on a tirade about how she messed up, and she'll actually. I hope she's recording them because some of that would actually be real good dialogue in a book. Some of that would be fantastic,
Oh hell
right?
yeah.
If my main character was actually, not in was actually competent, was incompetent, some of that dialogue I would be like, I know, shame to admit this, I would be liberally stealing from her, liberally.
As long as you put her in the acknowledgments, I'm sure she'd be
Yeah,
fine.
I would like, Sonia, can I just steal your dialogue? Which one? All of it. Especially the parts where you screw up, especially. And she's like, "Why do you want that?" Because you're bloody hilarious.
Yeah, no, she is. Like some of the stuff that she stated, like commentary for my book, like as I've edited and like gone through and like figured out like what things where she's like, okay, this you need to work on, or like these different things. Sometimes, like the funniest shit in comments, like I did this deliberately. Like, I wanted to give enough sort of like foreshadowing on a specific character, and I just referred to them as like an initial, which if you thought about the cast of characters, there's only one person that would have that initial, right? So it should be, what I think, really obvious to the reader. Now she thought that was a placeholder. And so in the comment she put like the like a dash, a dot, a dash, you know, like that squinting eye, and she's like, my face, and points to that, and I killed myself laughing for 10 minutes just because of this stupid emoji. Because in my mind I could see physically her reaction to that section. Sonia is great. People, if you're not following Sonia, you need to. She is amazing.
She awkwardly plays. Probably not as awkward anymore because she's been doing it for a long time. But
Mhm.
yeah,
It's
I
still
love that
awkward.
she kept my tagline. I think that's hilarious. It's like,
Yeah.
I'm bad at video games, and when she is, it's hilarious. But going back to the full thing, I I I enjoy Twitch. I'm going to be interested to see how the gaming community responds to me just playing video games,
Yeah.
right?
I can't wait.
Yeah.
Because I've watched some people do retro games and I'll pop in if they're playing like Heroes of Might and Magic 6 or something. I am there. You know, like depending on the game, I'm like, oh my god, I love this game. And I'm just gonna watch.
I actually might pick up Sea of Stars just because,
Do it, do it, do it.
right?
I have laughed so much playing this game.
Yeah,
So
the
fun.
sewing thing, I have to admit, when I saw the dialogue of it sewing, I was just like,
I
okay.
was so confused about that until I realized why that was a thing. I'm like, there's got to be a reason.
Oh no, there's a reason for all of it, right? But
Oh yeah,
yeah, no, yeah, no, it,
you're gonna love it. I
yeah,
can't
yeah.
wait to
If
watch
that's
you
the one
play this.
that I'm probably gonna start with Chrono Trigger. I was thinking about this. It's gonna be
Mhm,
Chrono
mhm.
Trigger because Chrono Trigger's the shit. But
It's
right.
classy. It's like, mwah.
Well, no. Again, if people see Chrono Trigger on my screen, they're gonna be like, "I'm down for some Chrono Trigger,"
Mhm,
right?
mhm.
Especially when I get to the point
Yeah.
when I beat the game the first time, and then I go back and hi Jet again, all right? And so he's like, it's like,
He's
hi Josh
frustrated with
again,
the
hi Jet
internet.
again. But anyways,
Yes.
but with with that game, it's like people be down for that, but it's like then I'd be like, okay, Final Fantasy 6, would it be Final
Mhm.
Fantasy 7, the classic version, not the remake? I go back to classic.
That's fair. I mean, they have their positives and negatives, and I'm really enjoying remake.
No, I see why people enjoy remake, but here's the thing. If I'm gonna get remake, I'm gonna get that Steam Deck because it's the
Sure.
only way I'm gonna be able to enjoy the game. It's like I'm
Hell
just
yeah.
like, yeah. I'll Steam Deck that one because my computer will laugh at me if I try to play it.
I want to see that. There, that has to be in the next story. A laughing computer.
I've tried playing Tales of Arise, and it can play the regular game, but any cutscenes,
Goodbye.
I'm such a sad panda.
Yeah,
Such
yeah. I understand.
so
I did my Cyberpunk 2077 review on my old system where I barely met like the minimum requirements. And so here's all these people talking about like the graphics aren't that great and blah 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 and all these bugs and blah blah blah. And I'm like, are you kidding me? My computer could go through that whole game fairly seamlessly, like honest to god, considering the shit that I'm running off of, which is another reason why I included my specs when I played the game, so that people had a concept. I'm like, don't complain to me about graphics when Destiny legs up a storm and I have a much better computer now than my playthrough of Cyberpunk. Like, get out of here
I,
with your
I,
argument.
I can see why people were a little disappointed with the game, but yeah, like
Yeah,
there
it,
there were other flaws with that game.
Sure, there were lots of flaws.
Yes. So a couple things before we wrap up, Miss Jag.
Yes.
First off, so writing wise, so
Yep.
am I going to get a novel of yours to read at some point?
Yeah, I am close to the end. Actually, I have like 50 pages left and I have some gaping holes, but if you're willing to deal with my holy ass manuscript, I will definitely send it to you.
Holy ass manuscript. Is that its technical name?
Yes, that's
Okay.
its technical.
I
There's
expect
nothing holy about
I
it.
expect that in the file. That's going to be the file name. Holy ass manu. That's the only way it's going to work.
Perfect. Okay, I'm gonna
Okay.
make a note of that somewhere.
Yes. Holy ass manuscript coming my way. But because mine, but the thing is, my story is smaller and more compact, right?
Yeah. I
So
don't know how you do it. I'm long-winded, as I'm sure you know. And I do not like I tried to write a short story for a contest once a long time ago, and I thought it was like really good at the time that I wrote it. And then later, like a few years later, I reread it and I'm like, this is fucking terrible.
see,
Yeah, I get short
it's
and I do not like.
I see. I have equated this. It's because I'm a confident asshole. This is that might sound really strange, but here's the thing: I can be very succinct,
Hmm.
and the reason I'm succinct is I just like no. This is just the way it is. I don't need to elaborate any more than
You
this.
are the best.
You'll
It gives
get
me
this. I
food.
don't feel the need. I don't feel the need to go into this big long. No, this is it's a bridge, and it's made of
It's
glass.
just a bridge. Sorry, that's a
Yeah,
reference for later.
it's a bridge. You're not going to care about this bridge when my character crosses the bridge, right?
Sure.
The only time I'm going to really care about talking about this bridge is if this bridge comes back later to bite me.
Collapses.
Yeah, yeah. This bridge is going to come back and bite me in the ass somehow, some way, right?
Yeah.
Or I'm one of those poor son of a bitches that was working on like the ancient wars that had to lift these man-made bridges up and put them down for the troops.
That's a job right there.
That's a job. So then I would care a lot about that bridge because I'm stuck with it all the time. It's heavy. It's awkward. I don't want to be here. In fact, first chance I get, I'm running because fuck
you,
this,
you get
right?
stepped all over. It's just not a good time.
Yeah, well, you're not even just getting stepped all over. You're putting it down. You're putting it down. So someone's gotta do that job. Just like crossing an ocean. It's like, oh, you're crossing a river. You gotta be fucking kidding me. But
Yup.
you're gonna do it. You're gonna do it. And then you gotta go back into. Think about this. You gotta go back into the fucking water. You gotta lift the damn thing up out of the water again. It's like, yeah, kiss my
Yeah.
wife. But then at that point, I will care about the bridge. In every other situation, I'm not giving a
Fuck the
fuck about this
bridge.
bridge. Right?
Yeah. Oh my god.
But all of this, folks, to give the ultimate lesson of the story. Remember what's important in your story. If there's a
Yeah.
reason for it, you talk about it.
Yeah.
If there's not, then keep it simple.
Exactly. I think that's a very important thing for every writer to learn is figuring out what is required to be part of the story and what you can just sort of gloss over and not really worry, you know?
And you world builders out there, you guys that like to build these. Listen, I have a karaoke brawl in my story. I don't know how far you got into it, but maybe
Mm.
you got that piece of it.
I think I did. I think yeah,
You
I
got to
think in the last, clump that you sent me, you were like, and you get to see the brawl finally or something like that.
yeah. So
Yeah.
there's a karaoke brawl, a dinosaur prison break, and they're literally back to back. They're not like they're back to back,
Yeah.
right? But it's succinct because what's important in the story? The characters involved in these situations and what they do with them, right?
Exactly.
Right. And Illidor doing Baxter's Bat was probably one of my favorite things to write ever.
I yeah, I the amount of laughing I did in that scene, just envisioning this whole thing, I'm like, wow. That was not where I expected that to go.
And,
Yeah.
and for those of you reading, I'll give you a hint. Illador was the big baddie of the elevator ride, but I had to figure out. I thought it'd be a fun way to humanize him, and it
Yeah.
worked. I thought it did a really good job of that.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, you're like, okay, I did not expect him to actually enter the contest and be good at that.
Yeah, and then like the dialogue between the two of them, like, crap, we have to like win this, like we have to come up with something better than that. And oh my,
Yeah,
the
and see
whole
that's the thing,
thing.
right? You can do unexpectedly good things with just a little bit of imagination. But what was important in that? He
Mhm.
showed up,
Yep.
he blew you away,
Yep.
and now the heroes are like, oh shit, and they gotta top this somehow,
Exactly.
right?
Exactly.
Right?
It's worth it.
Yeah,
Just trust me. When this comes out, I think people will be wildly entertained with the whole story, you know.
yeah. It's wild the whole way through, the whole
It
way through.
really is.
Yeah,
The
but
amount of times I'm like, my God.
that's good though. That's part of the fun,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? And the story makes sense. It's not like by and large it makes sense, and that's the other thing too. What's important, and if you can do that, long-windedness,
Yeah.
and
Well,
in
it's
fact,
what's interesting is I sit in a weird situation where I talk a lot. I like to get into like some details about storytelling when I'm speaking to people and whatnot. And after having done like game reviews and press releases and just different types of articles, I I try to do as much of like a point A to point B as possible where it's like shorter. And so it's really strange because it's switching modes almost where I can spend an entire day writing, but I'm going to be writing in completely different ways throughout the journey because that um it makes it easier. Like I switch gears. Like if I'm like, okay, I'm writing this article, I'm focused on the article. Once the article is done, I have deleted it from my brain and I am now in the world of my novel. And now I'm like looking at like the nitpicky, like, okay, does this make sense? Like, is there enough character building here? Like that kind of thing. And you're shifting gears. And then I did affiliate writing for a while, and again, it's a complete different style of writing that you're doing. And so I've always talked to people about how like actually my writing coach quite a while ago, like a few years ago, he was like, Jaggy, what you do is really interesting because you don't have the issue of like I am too scared to put my work out there because you write like 3 4 articles a day every day and have been doing that. Like you've gotten accustomed to the do the best that you can and just put it out there.
yep.
And so you don't have the same issues that a lot of authors face where they're like, oh, are people gonna like my story? Is this good enough? Like it has to be pristine and perfect. I don't have that. But then I look at my novel and there are points where I'm like, okay, so there are things I do need to fix here, but I'm not attached to my manuscript the same way that other people are.
Well, because you understand. Okay, so there's a lot of ways we can go with this. I'm gonna go. One of my favorite. No, no, in a good ways. There's just a lot of lessons in what you're saying.
Yeah.
C.S. Lewis is one of my favorite authors.
Yeah.
He was very much the
Fantastic.
same way. He was very much the exact same way. Whether it was Mere Christianity or whether it was Lion, Witch, and the Wardrobe or Out of the Silent Planet, anything you want to name, he just put it out there. He
Yeah.
he accepted that he wrote the story. He had done the best he could with it. Now let's just get it out there and let people read it.
Yeah.
Right? That's it. There's no magic to it. Not at all. Like there's no magic to the mystery there. By
Yeah.
default, by putting out the work you're putting out, you realize like you get good like again, almost by osmosis, right? It's
Yeah.
like you get good by osmosis. Okay, I've written columns for First Comics News. That's one aspect, right? I'm reviewing comics. I've written
Yeah.
comics.
Yeah.
I've written this novel. I've written articles.
Yeah.
Getting published is not a prestigious thing for me anymore. Now, right,
Yeah.
right, right. It's
Yeah.
not. I don't, and I'm not, and I'm not saying it in the negative context. I don't
Yeah.
care about the prestige of what I'm doing. I'm enjoying it, but I
Yeah.
don't care. What I care about is, am I doing the best I possibly can in this moment? And is what I'm doing fully carrying out the vision I set out for myself?
Exactly.
That's it.
Yeah.
And
And I think that's true. That is, I think, very much the perspective. Now, if we talk about my vampire novel that I have been working on since, high school, that I care about, right? Because there's a specific intention I have with that. But Agnes never started off that way. Agnes was to help a friend of mine who was like, I figure if I have someone who is doing NaNoWriMo at the same time I am, that I'll see that they're doing it. And why the hell can't I do the same thing? And it'll force them to do the writing, right? Instead of the planning and all of the planning, because I don't really do that, right? And it ended up that I wrote the book. So initially, my plan with this was just, let's see if I can do it. And then I did it. I'm like, I can actually do this. So maybe I'm actually going to work on it because I've already got 50,000 words. So let's try and work with it, mold it, learn about the industry, and really give this a good shot instead of what I did when I was younger, right? Which was kind of half assing everything, right?
hey, half-assing is a skill. No,
I mean, yeah,
no,
not wrong.
when you get older slash wiser, question mark.
Question mark.
Yeah, because you're not sure you know anything as you get older, and then I think when I get to 50, I'm just going to realize I know nothing. I don't know. Like I don't know.
Yep.
I'm just
Yep.
along for the ride at this point, right? That's probably where I'm going.
Yeah.
Either that or obnoxious red cape supervillainy, one or the other, right? Right?
Nice. Perfect. I expect to see this.
Everybody see. There's not. See, here's the thing about why I say that. I put that in people's head. There's no one doubts I do it. Like no one. Like not a
Not at all.
soul.
Yeah.
Right.
Not at all. And
Right.
if they do, who are you?
Yeah. It's like I would just do it. I showed someone, like someone never saw the Spawn obnoxious red cape before. I said,
Mhm.
look him up. You'll see what I mean.
Yeah.
They were
I
like,
think you did that in a podcast like a few days ago and said, look him up. And then it was the romance writer, I think. And she
yeah,
looked at
yeah,
that and went, oh my God.
yeah.
Yeah,
It's like,
I remember that.
yeah, it's like total obnoxiousness, right? It's an obnoxious thing. It takes skill. It legitimately takes skill to look at that. It's like, I don't know why you have that. It makes no sense whatsoever. But you do in this long. It does look cool. It does nothing else for you, but it does look cool. Right? So fuck it. I'll do it. And it gets somebody to get paid to lift the cape. And they'll be like, why? Because there's absolutely zero way I could walk in the damn thing.
Oh,
Zero.
yeah. Yeah.
Right? It's like zero, legitimately. But like what, as I was saying, older slash wiser, like you realize like the thing. It's not about like what everybody else is. It's about having that finite focus, determination about what you're doing.
Mhm.
And what do you care about? Because that's it. That is all there is to it. That there is nothing else. There's no magic to this. You,
Mhm.
you have to come to terms with the fact that your book, your story, Um, like my big epiphany moment on this was actually earlier this year. I was drawing with Nikki Nash, and I
Hmm.
realized, I don't know if you saw that one or not. I stunned her like twice, like I made her stop speaking, and I told her like great storytelling, great art. I would even go as far as say great sports too. The best people in the world. Um, okay, I have no shame. I have become a Swiftie. I've joined the Swiftie side of the force, and I'm okay with it, right? But she's a lesson. Eminem's a lesson.
Hmm.
Anybody that really succeeds in the arts has found that piece of themselves that they care about that they can share to the world.
Yeah.
And I think they're great. I think all the great ones do it. Now, again, you might despise Taylor Swift, and that's totally fine. I get why.
No, I think that's another thing for another day. I'm sure.
Sure, but you might despise them, you might love them, but the thing is, there's a truth. There is an authentic truth to what they're doing, right?
Mhm.
They've tapped into it. They do it. Stephen King does it, right? I think Stephen King's really great at that too. I
Yep.
think like anybody you want to look at that's considered the best of the best, blah 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 blah. What they've truly mastered is themselves.
Yeah.
And as you get older, that's what matters. It's
Yeah.
not I say this as an award winner. The award
Hmm.
doesn't matter. It really
Yeah.
doesn't. That's a byproduct of everything else you do.
Exactly.
The
Exactly.
bestseller lists don't matter. None of that matters. What matters is, can you find that real, genuine piece of yourself that people will connect to? That's the real search. Now,
Yeah.
I never thought I'd write the story I wrote. That was like, I, if you told me I was writing that story, I've been like, never. And it's
Hmm.
like years, and then I write the thing, and it's like, okay, I did this, but I know
Yeah.
why it worked. I know why it worked,
Yeah.
and why I'm fairly confident the agent's going to ask for more of that manuscript. I'm fairly confident in that. Now, whether I get in or I don't, that's a different question.
Hmm.
But it's because there's an authentic piece of myself in there, not just the terrible jokes,
Yep.
but that genuine feeling Corey has connects to me, which
Yeah.
is why I think this book in particular, I think I can honestly say it is better than anything else I've written.
Yeah. Yeah. You have progressed so much from like the first works that I read of yours to where you are now is definitely night and day. There's a lot more connectivity to everything. There's a lot more realism to the more recent stories that you have written versus some of the older stuff that, at least for me, didn't quite, grip anything.
No,
Maybe I'm just weird.
no, no,
But
no, 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 no. My no, the only thing that like if I read my novel, The Cloud Diver, I'm not going to knock it. I still think it was a good thing I wrote it,
yeah,
but the only thing in there that might actually still be in the current novel is the jokes. The humor is still there,
yeah,
right? It's just not to the same degree.
yeah, yeah,
This one is genuinely funny
yeah,
and horrifying in some places too.
yes. Also, yes,
Yes. So
yes,
but it's an there's an authenticity to it, and that's it. And because I understand it, I can project a far better book. And
hmm,
when you are done your work, your books, that's all you need to care about. So hopefully that long-windedness you describe yourself isn't
yep,
just wind. It actually has substance in the air and rocks the world.
yeah. I hope so.
So I have one
Eventually.
last question, and we'll wrap this up.
Okay, hit me.
You finally ready to go for it?
Yeah, definitely. Like I've put so much time into this, and I also want to be a good role model for other people, you know? Um,
Okay.
I have always it's I don't it's hard to explain because I also edit as well as write. My objective is to help people become better. So if I don't also become better in the process, who am I really then, right?
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Kind of. Kind of.
You're like, God damn it, Jack.
No, I may I offer a suggestion?
Sure.
Don't worry about that. Do it for you, first and foremost. Not because trying to be, look, I respect the between a better person. I try every day. Doesn't mean I succeed every day, but I definitely try.
Mhm.
I love watching encouraging others to shine. I do it all the time. But what I realized, like the biggest thing I realized in this is I got to do it for me. Before
Mhm.
I can't be a role model for someone else. Not because unless I'm doing it for the right reasons. And the right reason is I feel compelled to do it. And I'm following through on this wish, dream, desire, whatever the case may be. And
Mhm.
that's a very different thing. Now, I think as a byproduct, inspiring others to do the same is a great thing. As a byproduct, we put your okay. How do I put this? Have enough ego or belief in yourself to have the confidence to put it out there, but also leave if it's the best thing you've done, that's enough.
Mhm. Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Everything else doesn't matter. Everything else will come from this.
Yeah.
And then one day I will see you in a convention somewhere with a line longer than mine, and I'll have my obnoxious red cape. That's the only thing longer will be my
Yes.
cape. My cape. And you'll be like, I'll be like, hey Jack, can you send some my way? And you'll be like, nope, they're all mine. And
Everything.
that will be the thing, and you'll have done what you set out to do. Jag, I sincerely, I'm being very sincere when I say this. I go for it. Don't worry about it. The person you are is enough. And I hope that means something.
It does. It does.
All
Thank you.
right.
I appreciate that.
So I think we have an interview here. What do you think?
I think so.
So how can people find you?
Okay, so I am on Twitter because I refuse to call it the new name or whatever. I am on Twitch. I stream a couple of times a week video gaming content. I am writing articles for chalgear.com. And I will be putting out my Sea of Stars review soon, TM. And you can check out my website if you want. I'm still updating it, but jagtress.wordpress.com. You can
Okay.
go check out an excerpt of Agnes the Beast on there and my portfolio for everything that I do.
All right. I thrown it up there. All right, folks, that'll do it for this week. I don't know who's actually going to be on the show next week entirely. This is the week I have the most gaps, although I do have some things coming up. I'm interviewing a sparkly vampire on Wednesday,
I'm
but it won't
excited.
be on stream. It's going to be actually for the travel show. So if you guys want,
No. Okay, you have to record it and send it to me, okay?
we'll
That's the
see.
deal.
We'll see. We'll see. We'll see.
I need this in my
There's an
life.
inside joke there for between me and Miss Sparkles. That's all I'm going to say. But you can check my Patreon out. $5 a month gets you access to all the shows. Patreon.com/JustJoshingPodcast. We have, like I said, we have a few more of these left to go, folks. Probably 1013, 1014, somewhere in that ballpark. It'll be completely travel show. So we are towards the end. I want to thank Jag for coming back this time as well. So for
No
everybody
problem.
watching, everybody listening, Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Stay inspired. Keep shining in the dark. And I'll see you next time.